everybody. This is a video to show you how to take CDs and turn them into MP3 files. You might have your old collection of CDs and you still like to listen to the music, but maybe you may be a little more reluctant to listen to them because you don't want to have to go and pull them out and put it into your CD player and play them. Or you've got your DVD player. Maybe you don't have your CD player anymore, or it's packed away. You've got your DVD or Blu-ray player hooked up to your TV set still, but then you're listening to the CDs and DVDs through your TV if you don't have a big theater sound system set up. So you might figure it's a little bit of a hassle. Why not make it way more convenient and just do a one-time process, take those CDs and turn them into MP3 files. Then you can actually take those MP3 files once you've got them all set, and you can put a copy on your phone, your tablet, and you can have a copy on your PC, your laptop or desktop computer as well. And you can also, especially if you get them on your phone, you can Bluetooth to your car stereo, and you can listen to those classic CDs that you've got, your favorite songs, anywhere and everywhere you go. All you have to do is have something that'll play an MP3 file. So I thought I'd show you how to take those CDs and turn them into MP3 files. So the first thing we got to do is we got to grab a CD. And I got a CD in the tray. Tray's open right now because we got the CD, so we got our material, but we need to open up some software that will actually let us rip the CD. It's called ripping, by the way. It's an old term, which just means it's pulling the data, the digital information off the CD, and storing it on your computer or converting it or whatever you're trying to do. And in this case, we're ripping the audio CDs, tracks, and turning them into MP3s. On my computer here, I'm using Windows 10, but Windows 8, Windows 7, Windows Vista will work just as well. It doesn't have to be a new computer to rip audio CDs. It's an old technological computer process. There's nothing new about it. I actually used to rip audio CDs in Windows 95, so it's not like it's a big undertaking to do it. And since Media Player lets you rip audio CDs with just the built-in software, we might as well just go ahead and use that because it works pretty good. So the first thing we need to do, we're going to come down here. Now, technically, I have my Windows Media Player right here, but if you don't have it on your taskbar down here, just come over to your little icon, your little Windows icon. Click it, come over and scroll down to the W's, which is going to get you into Windows. Windows Accessories. Click on it, scroll down, Windows Media Player. Now, you do have some options if you're going to do this a lot, especially if you have a big CD collection. You can pin it to your start, which puts it right there. You also have the option of more options here, and you can unpin it. You can pin it to the taskbar. Right now, I have it on the taskbar, which I just showed you, but you can unpin it as well. You can also go into the file location. Windows Media Player right here. And if you right-click on that, you can click Send to Desktop and create a shortcut that way. So you can have a desktop shortcut, and you can also have it on your taskbar, and it's also located over here as well in your Windows Start. So we had lots of options, but now, just for the heck of it, I'll go back and show you that Windows Start again, because if you don't have it there, it doesn't hurt to have a little redundancy. Windows Accessories under W, Windows Media Player. We're going to click on it. There it is. This is the beginning point. Now, I've got the CD in the tray. Let me close the drawer. All right. We can see the CD is loaded. It started reading the tracks. It put the information up on the screen. and it started playing automatically. So I stop it. So now we're ready to actually start the ripping process. So we're going to come over here to rip settings. There's a couple ways to do this, and I'll show you both ways. The first way is you click the little down arrow, and it shows rip unknown CD. Format. By default, since we're using Windows Media Player, it rips to the Windows Media Audio, which is not MP3 file. It's a proprietary version of audio format for just Windows. Now, this format's been around for a while, and so some media players will play the Windows Media Audio, but just to be on the safe side and be universal, MP3. Select that. There, it closes, but we can double check it. Go format, there it is. MP3 is checked. So now we can come down to audio quality. In the audio quality, a lot of times the default will be set for 128. I got it set for 320 kilobits per second, best quality. And the reason is simple. When you set it for this level, you're going to get a nice, clean, full-bodied sound. Going to have the lows and the highs nice and crisp and clean, and everything in between. If you go down to 128 kilobits, it works, but the quality can be sometimes, depending on the music, a little gritty or grainy and swirly sounding. So you want to go above that. That's the bare minimum, and that's kind of an old quality standard. Hard drive space and processing from as far as your CPU and the RAM memory on your computers these days for the last decade now has been more than able to handle converting audio CDs and audio under any format, because you might have just did a live recording, let's say, and you digitized it. But nonetheless, the computers, especially over the last decade or so, can easily handle higher sampling rates. So I like to go for audio quality up at 320 kilobytes per second. And it says right here, best quality. This gives you a nice, clean sound, and it's full-bodied without any possible swirly artifacts. All right, now, one more thing we want to do. Go down here to more options. Now, the more options, you can't just go straight to the more options and just click rip CD. And what you can do is come over here, because we need to designate where we want the files to go. I'm going to click change. And I'm going to come over here to music. And I already have a rolling file that I put into the folder. And it's real simple. You can even I can even make a new one if I want to by doing that. And it'll put it in as a subfolder, or I can come out here to the music master folder and click make folder and create a new one that way. But I am just going to go with, I can actually delete that if I want, which is nice. And I can delete that new one too. So I have options to do a little maneuverability there. But I'm clicking on the rolling one. Okay. It now says see users, music, rolling. Our format is set. We don't rip the CD automatically, which means when you put the CD in the drawer, it would automatically rip it. But we want to know where it's going. Eject CD after ripping, you can do that if you want, which is a great thing to do because you might want to set the CD to be ripped, and then you might go do something else. So you can actually click on that, and it'll set it. Now, down here, audio quality, it's the same as I just showed you in the other format, because if I go down here, it takes the audio quality to 128 kilobits per second, and it's a 57 megabyte MP3 file for the entire CD. Now, you might be thinking, oh, that's great, but once again, that's going to give you the lowest audio quality. Come on up. 192, the file gets a little bigger. 256 gets a little bigger. 300 kilobits per second audio quality, which is the best. But it's only 144 megabytes for the entire CD, which is about 60 minutes of music. And when you consider that you could probably save your whole music library that you have in digital format on a 64 gigabyte, maybe 128 gigabyte thumb drive. What's 144 megabytes? It's way under a gigabyte in size. So we got it set for best quality. We got a directory set. Click apply. Okay. Now we're set to go. So I can come up here and click rip CD. But wait, there's one more thing. Just in case, I'm going to unselect this. Just in case you didn't want this whole album, which you could just click here, you can cherry pick. Let's say you like, maybe this was an album because for you folks who are old enough to have bought CDs and albums and cassettes and 8-tracks, you know as well as I do, there are some albums that you probably bought, had a couple great tunes on it, but the rest of the album, not so hot. Well, if you just happen to have a CD, let's say the first two songs were jamming, and then they had the fifth song was pretty good, and then the 10th song was great. Well, if that's all you want off the CD, you can literally just select those songs and rip them. It will ignore all the other tracks. So we get 1, 2, 5, and 10 selected because those are the only songs you want off that album. That's just fine. Tracks 3, 4, 6, 7, everything that's unchecked does not get ripped. So you have that option to cherry pick, which is cool. But I like this whole album. I'll just click album and there it is. And I can unselect it. So we're going to rip this whole CD. And it takes a few minutes because the CD, even though it's not playing at standard speed, it's not playing every song out. It's ripping at a certain momentum. We still have to wait for it to actually read the entire disc, read all the information off of each track, and store it. Okay, let's click the rip button and start. And then we'll just do a time lapse and come back after the CD has been completely ripped and we can see the MP3 files located in the folder, in the music folder. Now notice over here, I had my computer hooked up to the internet, so it actually retrieved the album information for me already as far as the cover. It did that automatically. But if you come over here, you can see it's ripping track 1. And it says ripping, and it shows the percentage of the track that's already done. The other ones say pending. So what's happening is, as it rips through every CD, once it's done, it'll literally go down to the next track and show you that it's ripping that track and that the one above it is done. So I'll do a quick time lapse on that so you can see how that looks. Okay, you can see it says up here, ripped. I'll open that column up. It says ripped to library. So that file is already set and been sent to our music library folder. And it's ripping the second track. And it's showing the percentage. And this will go on through all 12 of the tracks. So let's time lapse it, and I'll be back after the CDs are all ripped in. The CD actually got ripped and ejected because I did have all the tracks up here on the screen showing that they had all been ripped. So since they've all been ripped, let's go and pop into the folder. Now, when it came up, inside the music folder, I had my iTunes there, but it came up in the rolling folder. It created an unknown album inside the rolling folder because that's the way it does. And really, you want it to do that because as long as it creates a new unknown folder with the date and timestamp in parentheses, if you ripped in, let's say you were in front of your computer for a while, or maybe you were doing something else, but you said, I'm going to rip a bunch of CDs today. And you popped in five or six CDs, one after the other, and you ripped them all in. each one is going to come up in an unknown folder with a time date stamp. So you may not know exactly what CD it is, but at least they'll be separate from all the other CDs. So what we can do at this point, we've got all these files. So what I'm going to do is I'll click on one over here and we can see. Let me make my box full size. There we go. Okay, now here's all of our MP3 files, all 12 tracks. I'll click on one. Look at what it does when we're in, because we're inside the Windows File Explorer. It comes up with the information over here. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is a box. As you can see, you can make it big or small, depending on what you want to do. We'll make it a little wider. There. This box is information. This is it's a view pane is what it is. Because if we come over here, it's got our details pane. We got a preview pane here, which shows nothing. But in the detail pane, we can see the information, which is what we want. And once again, it's up here in view. We're inside of a file explorer. So view, detail pane. And that gets us over here. So now, with every song that I bring up, we can see it shows the track. If I go 4, it shows track 4, MP3 audio file. It even shows the default player that I've got set to play the song file. But let's look at a couple things here, because you got it set as an MP3 file. So now you have to set the track information for the files. And there's a couple ways to do it. There's some online services that do it, and it will put all of the information on there for you and set you up with as much information as possible. But not every library has every single CD ever published. So you might have a rare one that's just not out there. So if that's the case, you can still set these tracks so that they have names. You got the CD, right? All you have to do is label them. So what we can do, and there's a couple neat things you can do here. Number one, we know that this is the rolling CD. So if I come over here and I look at album, the name of this album is Rolling a Sound Approach. I can hold down, click on track 1, come down here. I'm going to hold down the shift key, come down to track 12 and click on it. That highlights all 12, because you can see over here it says 12 items selected. Album. I can click right on top of this and see it highlights. I'm going to type Roland. A sound approach. Double check, make sure I got it. Is that correct? No, that shouldn't be a U. That's an A. There we go. Rolling, and it actually has right there. There. Rolling a sound approach. Save. Now, you see the progress window popped open real quick there? It's saved. All of these. So now if I come over here, album 1, I got it highlighted. Track 1, there's 2. Notice it says Rolling a Sound Approach under each one because I selected it. It didn't say that before. Or if I would have went in and just changed 1, it would have did that. Now let's say I want to specify, let's go genre. I can do that again. Hold down the shift key, click the top one and the bottom one, and it selects them all. Genre. This music is kind of quasi-jazz, kind of pop. So I think I'll, let's go, I think I'll put it down as a I'm going to go with my own specialty. I'll go pop, jazz. Because it kind of feels that way because it's all instrumental and it's all got a kind of cool vibe to it. And I like every song on this CD. So while I got that, I'll save that. There. I like every song on the CD. So I can give these stars individually, like that one a 4. Come down into track 2, give that one a 5. And then if I go back to track 1, it shows the star. See how it changes? Track 2 is 5. Track 1 is 4. But, like I say, I like all these equally. So what I'm going to do is I got track 1 selected. Hold down my shift key. I'm just going to give them all 5 stars. And save it. Boom. There we go. Now, I can come back over and I can check on a couple other things. Now, it shows the date it was made and modified. It shows the bit rate, track name. That's an individual process. The album artist can be individual as well. But let's say contributing artist, or I can put that down there. I can leave it blank, or I can put in various artists. Let's try that. Because it's rolling clinicians or demonstrators who all got together and they each created their own song. So, got that cleared out. I'm going to put various artists. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go various rolling artists. There. Spelling looks, oops, forgot the L. Who went to public school, huh? All right, there we go. Save. Now we get it. Contributing artists, and it's on all of them. And you can see over here, the names are still track names. The titles are still the same. Contributing artists. I can even widen that out. Grab that little skinny bar and stretch it out, and there it is. Contributing artists, various rolling artists. Over here, rolling a sound approach. Go back to track 1. At this point, we need one more group naming. And that's going to be the year. The year was 1988. I can hit enter. That'll save it just as well. Boom. Now, we know what year the CD came out. It's various rolling artists, rolling sound approaches. Name of the album. Went with a genre. I did a pop jazz. Now, under album artists, I can list the album artist is various rolling artists if I wanted to again. Hold down the shift key. There we go. Copy it. By holding down the control and letter C. Now I'm going to come down. Control V for paste. There. Save. Now I got that set. So we're going with that on all of them, as you can see. Various rolling artists. Now, that kind of concludes the group naming part of it, or information input. Now we got to do the tracks. Now, over here, we have the track number. Over here, we have the track number here. And the title there. Now, right now it says track 1. So what we can do, track 1, what you have to do is, since we're doing this manually, track 1, and it's just kidding. and then enter. Now it's there. That locks it in the files in our File Explorer. But you notice over here, it didn't change it. No problem. I can just click on it once to highlight it blue. And I can hold down my control key and hit C, or put my mouse on there, copy, come over here, hit delete, take that out, right mouse button click, paste, and it says just kidding. And I think I'll take the number part out. You can leave the number on there if you want, but I'll take it out because it has track 1 right here. And then go down to track 2 and you do it again. And you just keep doing that. So we'll do it again. We can do it right mouse button click, and we can click rename like that. Hit your arrow key so you can unhighlight it in blue. Either direction, left or right, works fine. But you want to unhighlight it. You can also, I'll do an escape. You can also say, let's say we do a click on it once. It turns it blue. We can also just click in it, and you still have your little blinking cursor. Do a backspace, 02 for track 2, and then we can put the name in there. The name for this one is Living on the Edge. Okay, Living on the Edge. Now, while we still got this open for the sake of speed, we can just do this. Hold down the shift key, use our left mouse button arrow, or if you were on the right, just move your arrow, your right arrow key to the beginning of the first letter. Hold down the shift key. Keep tapping our right arrow key till we highlight in blue the title. We can use our mouse and copy it like that, or hold down our control key and hit the letter C. That will copy it as well. Now we got that saved. We can hit enter. We've got that saved. Let me open that up just a little bit. There. Now, we know it's Living on the Edge. We're on track 2. Title. We got it highlighted. Just by clicking on it, I'll come off of it. Just click on it. It highlights it, hit delete, and we can do a right mouse button click inside that box, paste, save. Now we've got it set both ways. This way, what it is over here is embedding information into the file itself. This over here lets us see what song track it is so that we can manipulate the files, or at least just get the general information. But this information over here, ladies and gentlemen, this saves the information so that the MP3 file or whatever media player is going to use it can bring up the information. It's called meta information. It's actually called meta information. So now I've done 2 of them to show you how it's done. Now we'll go to the finished product. All right, we've got all our songs labeled, so we're all set in that department. Everything's numbered. All the numbers and titles are set. So we got a title for our File Explorer here, and we also have the metadata, which is what this is over here. This is tagged information that lets the media player know what song is being played, what genre it is, and the album itself, artist. So it's database information is what it is, so that the media player will know how to present the file to you. So it's not just a matter of playing the music. It's got all this little extra information in it that helps to be more accurate in locating the music, because you can locate things by the album or the artist or the genre in the media player. So we need to set that up properly. And we've got all the song files ready to go. But let's look at the folder that it's in. It's the unknown album. So what we're going to do, we're going to come over here. We got the unknown album selected. Right mouse button click. Rename it. Rolling a sound approach. Make sure I got my spelling right. Forgot the R, looks like. There, rolling a sound approach. And I'm going to put, let's go ahead and do that. Oh, it won't let me. It's a title. That's okay. Rolling a sound approach. Now, all those files are in that folder. Because if we go here, now we can see it. Oops, misspell. No problem. Rename. Forgot the D. There. Now, but we don't need to have rolling here and rolling here. What we're going to do is just take this folder and we're going to move it up to the Music General tab. Let it go. Now, when I go like this, it says Music. There's my iTunes folder. Then there's a rolling folder, but there's nothing in it because we moved it from a subfolder here out of this folder. So we don't need this folder at all. There. Now in the music folder, it's just rolling a sound approach with our music. All right, now we've got the folder set and we've got all the songs in the folder. How do we get those into the media player? I'm going to come back over here to our file folder, click the top song, hold down the shift key, and click the bottom song. Bring them over to the media player, drop it on this space over here on the left, and let it go. Now, boom, there it is. Kind of goofy, but kind of easy too, because it works. Now, because if I cleared out the playlist, I can double click on this, and there they all are, right there. And I can literally drag the album icon over, and it drops all the songs in. Or I can drag over any one of these songs to add individually. Or I can grab all of them and bring them over, and they'll play as well. There's another way to do it. I can clear this out. Click on just one song. Doesn't matter which one. I'll click the last one. It pops them all into the playlist. And then if I hit repeat, it'll go back to the top. All right, now. So we got different ways to put them into the playlist. And like I say, you can drag them up, drag them down, put them anywhere you want. So that's kind of neat. And then you can actually save the playlist. Just give it a name. Rolling. Now, if you're doing a whole album, you don't really need to. But let's say, well, I didn't want those last three. I can take them out and just click save. Now, I can clear this out. There's 9 songs on the rolling playlist. Click on it, there they are. Double click on it, pops them right over here, and they start playing. And it's only the 9 songs. And it says you are currently playing, and it says right here, you are currently playing this list. You can edit the list in the play tab, which is over here. There's the play tab. Burn tab, sync tab if you got an MP3 or something hooked up. But there's the play tab. And like I say, you can rotate them around. And if I can use my back arrow key to get back over here, I'll just clear the list. And there's also a shuffle. So you can start playing the music, or you can hit the shuffle. It might start there, but if I hit this, fast forward, it didn't go to number 2, did it? It jumped all the way down. And then it backed up. And then it's going to another one. So that works really nice. So you can shuffle any kind of way you want. And you can actually have the shuffle on, turn the playlist off, have the shuffle on, or drag it over, and it automatically starts in shuffle mode. So it didn't even play the first one, it went straight to song 11. So different little neat little options there. But there's still one big elephant in the room. The album cover. We need the album cover. Okay, since I've already got the CD, I might as well just go ahead and scan it in to my computer, and then I can give it a quick crop and use that as my album cover for my media player file. I'll just go into some photo editing software here. This is IR FanView, free off the internet, by the way. Crop it. There. Now I've got a copy of the album cover. Save it, and I will save it with rolling a sound approach. It's in bitmap format, which is fine. A sound approach. There. Now, close that. Here's a neat little thing. I'm just going to go copy. Bring this up. Paste album art. You wait a few seconds. Boom, there it is. Now I've got it. And it's under the artist listing. So if I go and start typing in Roland, it brings up both albums right there. That's under artist. Now let's go under album and we'll do it again. There they are. Choose the one you want. There it is. And you're set. And that's how you do it. There are some people who do a slightly different import, but I find that the importing, the way I just showed you, works well. Just highlight all the songs in the file, drag it on over, drop it into this area, and you're all set. Because even if I have these two up on the screen and it's on album, if I had another Roland album or any album as far as that goes, it doesn't matter. I got it all. I got all the tracks labeled. I got a little picture for it. Everything's saved in the folder, just like this. I'm all set. I can just literally drag those tracks over, drop them over here, and you should be all set. I find sometimes I'll drag them over here to the playlist, start it playing, and then drag it over here again from the file folder and drop it. But that gets them in there. And that's the way I usually do it, dropping them, dragging them in. Because sometimes doing the file way through the librarian doesn't seem to always work. But this does. And I've used it for several years like that. All right. Now, that's basically it. You now have the ability to grab your CD songs and bring them on over using the media player and its tools to rip a CD, convert them automatically into MP3 files, and then save those files in a folder, give the folder the name of the album, and if you have multiple artists, it shouldn't be a big deal. For instance, Al Jarreau. Al Jarreau, he is now passed on, but the guy came up with a lot of nice stuff. So I got a few of his albums here. And so under Al Jarreau, artist, right there, I get all the songs. And it even tells me, because once again, media player is a database. So there it is. 3.6 hours of music, 48 songs, and there they are, right there. I can clear my list, double click on one, there you go. So you can actually set up a folder with all the artists in it on your in your file explorer in your music folder. So, like if I had Al Jarreau, I'd have a master folder that just said his name, Al Jarreau. Inside that, I would create a subfolder for each CD that I rip, and then go in and name that CD, like I showed you before, unknown artist, and it has a time and date stamp on it in parentheses. Go in and look and say, oh, okay, that's the Breaking Away album. And so I would name all the songs from that Breaking Away CD, and I'd have them in my folder, all set to go, and they would play. And you can do that with all your CDs. Just set up a master folder if you have multiple CDs by one artist, and then you'll have subfolders inside of that you will set up when you set up your ripping options. Set them up in there, and then you just name everything, and then name that unknown folder as the title of that particular CD album, and there you go. So, neat stuff that you can do with your computer. I hope this helps and it's nice and clear. And, of course, you can always go back and watch it again if you need to. But that's how to rip a audio CD. But I do have another video on how to actually digitize vinyl albums using a simple audio interface made by Behringer. There are other ones you can use as well, but check out the video on how to digitize an album to get all the details. And I literally go through it step by step and show you how to edit the album once you've got all the files recorded in, because it's a longer process than digitizing, or should I say ripping a CD. But I show you all the steps. So check that one out if you got some vinyl albums that you would also like to turn into MP3 files.